is Kate Herron, and I work at the DIA bringing arts programming to the Tri-County areas, and also independently as an arts educator and artist. I mostly work with textiles, which means fabric, thread, but today I'm here at the Anton Art Center bringing you a mask making project sponsored by First State Bank. Let's see, it's October, Halloween is just around the corner, and we're going to be making our masks to kind of tell a story and decide what we want to dress up as. If you guys want to use the chat feature in Zoom to share some ideas with each other about what you might be dressing up as, go ahead and do that. When I think about costumes or disguises, masks used in plays, I think about the face first, because it's how we connect, it's how we see each other, and so the mask is a big, important part of a complete disguise. Even though we have simple materials, we can make something really interesting. So when I make the sample today, I'm going to be doing something pretty simple with materials you'd have at home, but I'll do a rundown of the materials, and that way if you have alternatives or you want to add things at home, maybe you have a relative who's a scrapbooker and they have all kinds of fancy things you can add in, go ahead, have fun, and add away. Let's see, let's talk about the samples first. We are all going to be using the same technique to start with, but cutting them and coloring them in different ways to create something that's unique for each one of us. So starting with one sheet of paper, you can go in a lot of different directions. So maybe start thinking about what shape eyes your creation is going to have. Is it a creature? Is it an imaginary creature or a real animal? Is it inspired by a book, a story you love, an emotion or a plant? A character, a mask can be inspired by so many different things. To use ours, to make ours, we're going to be using the colored pencils, these tiny adorable ones from First State Bank that they provided us. And if you have colored markers, pencils, pastels at home, you can use those too. But these are the basic supplies. You're going to want to have a pair of scissors and a grown-up if you have a young artist around, a pencil, eraser if you need it. An alternative for poking holes if you don't have a hole punch is a kebab skewer. Chopstick would work well, and the tip of your pencil can also punch the holes that we're going to need. Let's see, the last thing we're going to need is wrapping paper ribbon. You could use fabric ribbon or yarn, and that's what we're going to use to tie the string on so our masks are wearable. That'll be the last step. Okay, now that we've gone over all of that, we should get started. I'm going to be using a big piece of white paper so that you can more easily see the marks I'm going to make on it. And the very first thing we're going to do, I've already created a fold, but I'll show you exactly how I did that. We're going to take the corners and line those up with each other and then flatten that fold right along the middle. That gives us a nice clear line. Okay, so maybe you've been thinking about what you want to make. Maybe you're going to keep working on this after the tutorial. I think for today, I'm going to make a plant creature of some kind. So I think I want to make the whole shape of the mask a leaf. I did some animals before, and now I want to try something different. I could draw things on each side of this fold, but there's a trick that makes this a little bit easier. By drawing on one side and then cutting along those lines in the next step, I can get both my sides to match up. So you see how these holes line up on both sides. So that's going to really help us keep things aligned. So here I'm going to draw a big leaf shape. So I'm gonna have a rounded bottom, kind of looks like a half an onion or something, and a little point at the top. And then, I'm not sure what kind of eyes a leaf would have. Maybe, maybe kind of like a teardrop shape on its side. Like that. I'm trying to draw darker with my pencil so that it shows up on the video. But at home, you might want to just draw lightly, and that way when you're going over it with your colored pencils or your crayons, whatever you're using, you can go over, you can erase, you can change really easily. I think I also need a mouth. And so, let's see. I'm going to just draw big shapes. I think this is going to be a happy leaf because plants are cool. He's happy to be around. Okay, so I have big shapes. I don't want to get into too much detail in this part. Okay, and I've only drawn this on one side, the other side is blank. Now, if I'm cutting around the edge, that's pretty easy. I can just bring my scissors in and cut right along my line. If you're a young, growing artist, this might be the part you want to get help with from a grown-up. Or maybe you have a cool pair of rounded scissors all your own. Okay, that was easy enough. And now, voila, it's the same shape all the way around. Pretty cool. But it's a little trickier to get these eyes, these shapes right in the middle of the mask. So what I'm gonna do is I can use my pencil point, I can use the skewer, and I'm going to hold the paper with both hands, and with one hand, point that pencil all the way through so I have a little hole. That's another part that a young artist might want to get a little bit of help with. But now I keep it folded, and now I have a little hole that I can stick my scissors into more easily, clip right to the edge of that shape I drew, and cut all the way around. And it's okay if it's not perfect. That's kind of what makes each of our masks special and unique from anyone else's. Let's see, okay. Just go slowly. And there we go. So now, as I unfold, I've got that shape on both sides. I'm going to do the same with the mouth. The cool thing about the mouth in this design is that it's right on the fold. So I can cut this one out right from the edge. And again, when I open it, I've got a mouth. This guy looks a little mischievous now. I didn't quite mean to make him so. But if you've got spare paper, you could always color this in, make it different colors, cut out different shapes, and glue those on if you've got a glue stick handy. That's another way you can make a lot of different features on your mask. Let's see. So I've got my pencil showing on one side, so I'm just going to turn it around and use the nice clear side of my mask. Now that we have everything cut out, I am ready to go. I'm going to get my pencil, my colored pencils. Do this. And make sure it fits my face. And even these tiny ones, this one's a little tiny for me, but it's not bad. You guys can combine all kinds of different features from the samples. Think about, as we start to color in, what kind of shapes you need to add. If you were wearing this mask in a play and people were seeing it from far away in the audience, what might they need to see that would stand out from way back there? Okay? So let's see, my dragon had scales. My leaf, I think I just want to color it in with a bunch of plants. And so I'm just going to draw on some details. Maybe has some kinds of leaves have little lines running through them, so I'm going to give him some of those. I'm going to switch to my colored pencils now. And I think sometimes I just like to outline the pieces I cut out to make them a little more defined. And he's going to have some more plants growing out of his mouth. Let's see, what should he have? Maybe he has some petals as eyelashes. So almost like a daisy. I like that. So you guys can be drawing along with me if you want. Let's see. I want to keep, I think, both sides of my mask looking about the same, but you don't have to. You can do something different on each side. Maybe think about what kinds of lines, what kinds of colors, symbols might tell the story, help tell the story of your mask or your character. Are they happy? Are they sad? Are they surprised or scared? A lot of times in theater, when masks are used, they are used to express emotions. Okay, I'm going to color this in. I think I'm going to add some crayon. Woo! Careful of flying crayons. And give it a nice bold border around the edge. I love the colored pencils because you can get a lot of nice detail. So if you like adding all kinds of little details to your story, the colored pencils are great. If you need a bold line, a crayon can be good. Maybe you have pastels or marker at home. And as I work on this, I'm just going to keep filling them in and filling them in. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I run art workshops, there are some people who want to talk and enjoy themselves and talk about and share their artwork. And I think I was the kid, when I was little at least, who wanted quiet. And I wanted to concentrate and get really into the idea I had. So maybe you're making this project with others. Maybe you have sibling or grown-up at home that you guys are working on these together. Maybe think about what kind of noises, what kind of a voice your character has. Because once you put your mask on, you're going to need to know how they act. Okay, so now we've got a nice clear border so that when I wear it, the edges are really clear. I like that. I think I'll start coloring in other pieces of him now. Think about, does your character have a mustache? Do they have whiskers? How much of your character is imaginary? And how much is based on something that maybe you know? Maybe it looks like a pet that you have. I don't think I have any plants at home that look like this guy though. He's pretty special. Okay, I think he needs more leaves. Let's see. Maybe the center of the flower. Maybe that we see like freckles, the pollen that a flower has. Maybe that gets sprinkled around. Let's see. I think he needs some freckles on his nose then. And you know what? You might have cut out a nose. I didn't, so I think I'm gonna draw one right now. This guy is just gonna have a button nose. My dragon here has a big nose and big nostrils because dragons breathe fire. He's gotta have a pretty important looking nose. But this guy, he's just a little guy. That's all right. Okay, let's see. Big leaves, I think we need, I found a big green crayon here. I think we're gonna have lots more leaves coming out. Let's see. Sometimes I like to start by drawing half a leaf and then adding. But now things are gonna look a little bit different on each side. I'll go back to my colored pencil. Okay, and I think we have some markers here. And markers will give me a nice thick line. We've got to color this in. I'm going to put this one aside for just a moment. And as you guys keep working on yours and filling it in, I want to show you one more thing. If you signed up for this workshop beforehand and got one of our kits to do this, then you got one of these special pieces of black paper. It's a little bit shiny and it has a secret to it. So let me just start the way we started the other one. So I take the edges, I line those up till the corners meet, and then I press down on my fold. Okay, I'm gonna make this one kind of simple, and I'm gonna show you the trick here. Draw a basic shape. Almost looks like half a mustache. Let's see. I'm gonna cut this out. If it helps to see the line you're going to cut along, you could fold this the other way so that the white is on the outside. And then you'll be able to see that pencil line a lot easier. I'm going to cut some holes for the eyes, and I'm going to use the white so that you could see that better too. I think I want this one to look more like a human eyeball. I'm going to draw it kind of big so I don't have to worry about being able to see out of it. I use that time the scissor, the little tip of the scissor to punch a hole, but again, you could use your pencil or the skewer. Then I tip my scissors in, cut to the edge of that shape I drew. There we go. Almost, almost. And because I drew on the white side, even if I'm not exactly on my line, it's okay, because I'm not going to see it from this side. So that kind of looks like more of a traditional mask. And the coolest thing about this paper is that you can use your pencil, your colored pencil, and when you, I'm going to use the end of the pencil and see if that can get me a wider line. When you rub on the paper, it reveals lots of different colors underneath. It looks like this one, I hit a spot of red and yellow. That is really cool. So we just wanted to give you guys something special. Oh, I see a little bit of purple in there. That's pretty cool. Maybe this guy has eyelashes that go up into that point there. I'll match my other. ooh, this side is another color. So I really like using the edge of that pencil because it's getting me a thicker line than the tip does. But let's just try it. Just see how, you have to go over it a little bit with the pencil to see the color underneath, and then it'll also leave the color of the pencil. So actually I think I like using this end to reveal. Yeah, the skewer would work great for this as well. Ooh, that's a cool rainbow. Let's see. If you're using something really pointy, just don't go too hard because you don't want to rip it, but you can just scratch off. Ooh, almost like nails on a chalkboard. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I think where I went over it with the pencil might not come off as well, but that's okay. That is really cool. Let's match his eyelashes up here. And let's see, maybe the line continues. Squeak, squeak. All the way. So it looks like on this side I have a lot of warm colors, yellow, red, oranges. And then here we're getting into cooler colors, which would be blue, purple, green. This kind of looks like a black cat with rainbow pizzazz. Here we go. So I'm just going to bring this line, get my pencil out of the way. Here we go. Just going to be using this skewer as I would a pencil and go all the way around until I get back to where I started.
That looks so cool.
That does. This paper is awesome. I'm jealous of all the people who got it in your kits.
You can take yours with you.
Okay, now I'm ready for my masquerade ball. That's another traditional place that masks would be worn. If maybe you've seen a movie where people get really dressed up and they wear fancy masks that usually cover about half their faces. A lot of times it's based on a celebration called Carnival. I know they celebrate it in Venice, and in some places in South America they have different versions of it. And it's always a traditional practice to wear a disguise. Okay, that's pretty cool. So I could keep working on my, the next part is if you've finished your drawing, and don't worry if you haven't, you can always finish it up later on your own time. I'm going to use a hole punch. You could also, again, use a skewer of the pencil. I'll show you each on one side. The important part here is that to make the hole and put your ties on, you want to go in at least a ½ inch, I would say, from the edge. If you're too close to the edge, you could easily rip through that paper as you tie it on. So try to go a little ways in. Either way, hole punch or pencil, you've got a nice clear hole to the back, and that is when you can take your wrapping paper ribbon or yarn. Maybe you have some kitchen twine. A good rule of thumb is to hold one end in your fingers and then stretch it to just past your elbow, and that'll be a good length for wrapping it around your head, making sure you have enough to tie it on with. So I'm going to stick one end of the tail, the short end, through the hole, tie it once, and then twice so it makes sure it stays on. There we go. This paper is a bit thinner, so I'm not going to tie it too tight. That's one side. Let me do another piece for the other. And, whoop, almost tied it too tight there. That's okay. If you do get a little tear in it, a little bit of tape, or even gluing another piece of paper along that thinner part will help. I think I need to take my glasses off for this. Take off my Clark Kent glasses, put on my disguise. This is the last step. It's probably the most important one. Line that up. Maybe your eye holes line up with your eyes. Maybe your creature has totally different eyes in different places. This could be a good part to have your grown-up help with too. I could probably use a grown-up with another set of hands. But that's it. Thank you so much, guys, for making a mask with us today. I hope you keep working on yours and I bet you can find all kinds of creative things around the house to add and make it fabulous and make it your own.